So last week we did talk about progress, what progress means in terms of heartfulness. So yesterday I had a very interesting conversation with one of my friend. And so it's basically when we meditate, we go into a deeper state of consciousness. And when we go deeper into a deeper state of consciousness, basically the mind drops. When the mind drops, consciousness becomes the witness itself. When consciousness becomes the witness and it goes into the higher state, in Sanskrit it is called Turiyatit, then it becomes aware of this essence, soul, or God within, and it brings that feedback all the way to our awakened state, means mind. Then we can see, feel the presence of divine essence and how it feels like. Because that feeling we have never experienced before. You see what I'm saying? Because we don't know how it is like. Even simple thing like a fragrance. Suppose if I have not ever smelled that fragrance, I don't know what that fragrance feels like. Correct? Yesterday, my wife took me to the shopping mall, and as we are walking through the Macy's, Dillard's, and all these stores, different perfume mixed together. You can only smell perfume there. So we don't know until until we experience it, we don't know how it feels like, you know. So it is very essential for us to experience. And as this experience repeats, we get the glimpse of it. I don't think anyone has the ability to catch it in the first experience itself. So that is why we meditate. As we meditate, as this experience repeats again and again, and slowly the comprehension or cognition of that which we are experiencing becomes very vivid, apparent. Then you can say, hey, I am progressing. So that's the idea of progress, right? So let's get into the reading. All right. So am I sharing my screen now? So this is what we read last week. And let me go to the next chapter. So now we are finally at the first chakra. After understanding the all concepts, I think we can actually breeze through this. And let's try to deep dive into the chakra 1. Chakra 1 or point 1, as you see it on the diagram, is an earth element. So why do we call this as an earth element? Because predominantly it's an earth consciousness. So earth, like we said, earth, fire, water, these are all different conscious states. So the point 1 in the middle, you see earth, is that means it's basically the predominant element. And the second point is water, which is below earth, fire, space, and air. So once you understand this, once you understand one point, you can actually understand all the other points. Suppose if I am drawing this, if I put earth, the first point as the first element, always put the bottom one the next higher. So the next higher is 2. Sorry, the top one you always put the next higher. Higher next one higher is 2. Then you go in a clockwise direction, then this becomes 3, this becomes 4, this becomes 5. Suppose if I want to draw a fifth point, the fifth point is this. So if you go one number above, fifth point above is 6. 6 means it's actually 5 plus 1. That means this is the first point. Then you can easily draw 3, 4. Suppose if I want to draw a ninth point, this is 9. Above 9 is 10. 10 means 5 plus 5. So this becomes fifth point. Then automatically this becomes first point, second point, and third point. So 9 means actually equal to 4. 5 plus 9 is 4. So this way it's easy to find the positions of these elements at each point without having to memorize. You got it? Okay, good. Now let's start reading the first point. First point, the heart chakra, earth chakra, or first chakra, or first point. The color. So there is also a color associated with each state of consciousness. So one might ask, why color? So those who understand science, every state how it is described as a vibratory state. So the entire manifestation is at a it is each one has its own vibratory state. Even our body cells, depending on the brain cell has its own vibratory state, the cell in the heart has its own vibratory state, the cell in a kidney has its own vibratory state. So even if you go to the submolecular, subatomic, and sub whatever, so everything has its own vibration. Even each DNA, the RNA cells has its own vibration. Okay. So when a virus, in fact, enters our body, the virus is nothing but its own RNA or tRNAs superimposed with our DNA. So it's all compatible, even bacterial. All the microbiomes in our body, gut bacteria, modifies our DNA because it superimposes its RNA onto it, right? So that's how our body is even manifesting, changing. It's going through diseases, non-diseases. Somebody is obese, somebody is not obese. It's not because what you eat. It's because mostly because how the modification is happening. And similarly, so the earth element, so this earth is element is all the lower, in the sense it is the key element, it's the main element for all manifestation, physical manifestation. So that's why it's because it's physical, it's denoted as earth. Symbolically, it's denoted as earth. So what are the key aspects of the point one is the acceptance. Then main feelings are contentment, forbearance, balance, discontentment, selfishness, jealousy. So if you see, observe, as long as we are in the bodily state, the bodily state is nothing but the 5 points. As long as we are in this bodily state, where this is called the heart region, there is always, we are living in opposites. Slowly we go above the opposite. So that's the whole idea of spiritual progress. Correct? So as we are moving above our bodily aspects, then the opposites drop. But right now, we are dealing with the opposites. That's why the acceptance is required. Also, understand both opposites, both sides are required for our existence. If there is contentment, there has to be discontentment. So, what acceptance does is, if you understand why acceptance is not about, oh, okay, I'm suffering, so I accept. That's not what it is. Or I'm happy, I accept. That's not how the acceptance work. So, when I am in acceptance, I don't go too much into the contentment. So, there is a pendulum, right? So, there is an infinity you can go here, there's an infinity you can go here. And this is my balance point. So, as long as my swing is smaller, that means I am in better acceptance. If this acceptance is removed, the swing is going to be larger, this side or this side. When there is too contentment, the life always pulls you back. If there is no acceptance, then once you go into a discontentment, if there is no acceptance, then life shatters immediately. So that's why, in order for us to keep us in balance, balance is nothing but swinging between the opposites. And you hit the balance point where you feel zero. You are neither content nor discontent. And then, depending on life situations, we keep swinging. Right? So that's why this acceptance is very essential to bring into our life. So everything is a practice. Acceptance is a natural state. This is a natural state. Because we are not in natural state, then there is a loss of balance. The loss of balance is nothing but non-peace. The When we are in balance, we are at peace. Peace doesn't mean it's thoughtless state or being happy or none of those things. Peace is zero. It's neither discontentment nor contentment. So that's the natural state. And that natural state of the earth element consciousness is acceptance. So basically, we start our spiritual life with acceptance. That's why it is at first point. And the points nearby, point 1 or chakra 1 is ABCD. And it also has some similar vibrations with the Muladhara chakra. I'll talk about Muladhara chakra in our next uh, session. So there is also a direction associated with it, and the direction associated with the first point is clockwise. See, if you follow my uh, stroke of the pen, you can actually identify the directions of each point. Let me show you that. So if I draw it like this, so this is the first point, this is the second point, third point, fourth point, and the fifth point. You see the direction of my stroke? This is our meditation symbol. It's going like this. So this is clockwise, right? CL, clockwise. And then you see here, this became anti-clockwise, AC. And again, if you see here, this becomes clockwise. And here, it becomes anti-clockwise. And the vibrations at the fifth point we are going to learn, it's actually bidirectional. It's both AC and clockwise, anti-clockwise and clockwise. because that's why the air element is not stable at all. This is the air element. We're going to read about this, but it's easy to remember what is the vibratory state of each, or the direction of the vibratory state, anti-clockwise or clockwise. You can, just by drawing like this, you can find out. Okay. All right, next. The journey to the center. There's a one letter missing. The journey, J, center, to the center begins from the first chakra, where the prominent element is the earth. Can anyone answer why we keep calling center? Why it is donated as a center? Okay, think about it. Write down in your journal some answer, whatever comes to your mind, and then we can discuss more in depth about it. Because we are almost coming close to the time. If I enter into this topic, it will take some time. So, the essence of the earth element is acceptance, which we are talking about it. Acceptance. So, the Mother Earth accepts all without judgment. The seeker and the saint, the rich and the poor, the wise and the ignorant, all walk the same earth. She feeds us, clothes us, rises us, and ultimately accepts our mortal remains. So, when we master the first chakra, you develop acceptance, and its pinnacle, your nature becomes infinitely loving and accepting. So we will become one with the nature. Every time we become one with the nature of that point, what comes into us is peace. So understand this. So the true nature of acceptance. In a group of young people from some of the most impoverished nations, as part of the exchange program, came to Shantivanam. And our ashram in India, they told me stories of silent tension in their homes. Each day, as they figured out who would eat dinner, who would skip the meal, commenting on the food, right? We served in the ashram meals, rice, lentils, and bread 3 times a day. They said it was more food what they ate in the whole week. But they were not complaining or comparing. Over the duration of their stay, they made friends, meditated well, and lived in the moment. When it was time to go home, they were jubilant. An evening before they left, they all showed up at my home and sang songs, an impromptu performance that moved the hearts. So these young hearts symbolized what my master said about life. Life is movement. So that's something we need to understand. Like all these vibratory states are because life is moving. Movement is vibration, change, and evolution. So the movement of energy, acceptance of change, the evolution of consciousness, Movement, change, and evolution create a flow. And this flow is nothing but what we call in Sanskrit prana. That's why the pranayama means pranayama, like with the breathing exercises we understand. Yama means regulation. So the flow, entire prana, the life force, which is moving, changing, and evolving, is regulated through the practice of meditation. So, is it possible to flow if you are tethered? The samskaras tethered our growth. As samskaras are cleaned, we rise above attachments and resistance by developing acceptance and resistances. By developing acceptance. Acceptance and love are the fulcrums for navigating life with grace and compassion. Acceptance means allowing movement, change, and evolution. Instead of imposing your will on the universe, acceptance helps you channel the universe's will to allow you to grow and evolve. Acceptance is a wise counselor and saves you valuable time on the journey. It gives you strength and wisdom and a state of acceptance. So, acceptance is the secret of a well understood spiritual life. So, we'll end here. I'll stop here for any comment, observations, questions, and then we can get into sitting meditation. All right, everyone is quiet, so let's get into meditation. I'll stop the recording.